Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is October 4th, 2023. And of course, the big news yesterday, Kevin McCarthy ousted as Speaker of the House. They're saying there's a good chance he'll return as Speaker of the House. But they referred to it as chaos. Chaos in Congress. And we'll talk about why all this occurred on the day it did, October 3rd, the day leaving 89 days left in the year. National Kevin Day. And boy, was it a rough day for Kevins from Washington, D.C., down to Tampa Bay, and then also out in Minnesota, where the two Kevins who were participating in the MLB wild card also lost. Again, National Kevin Day did not work out for the Kevins. And Kevin Gausman for Toronto, he looked like Lock City for the loss. But we'll get to why all that was. And then, of course, we'll also talk about today's big news story that has a lot of people a bit concerned. What's going on with the FEMA alert on our cell phones, on our TVs, on our radios, everywhere on 10-4. When, again, it's well understood that 10-4 means message received. So we're going to get a message everywhere on 10-4. And I don't think it's anything to worry about. There are lots of things to worry about in this world, but I don't think it's going to be raining graphene oxide from the sky. It is raining other things from the sky. I was tempted to pull out my cell phone and document something I've documented other times in years past. Yesterday I was mowing the lawn, and it was definitely a spray day yesterday up above in the skies, if you know what I mean. That geoengineering that they say could be 10, 15 years from now. It's definitely going on right now. It was a major spray day out here yesterday, and it was literally raining long spider webs from the sky, and I've seen it before, and it's annoying because it's like landing on you, and you're like, what is this crap? What is this crap? But it wasn't anything unusual because it's become the norm. If you've ever gone out in the morning and you've seen those long spider webs over your windshield, and you're like, what kind of spider just spins a long, straight stream? You know, they might be draped over your side mirror. That's when I first started to notice them years ago when I still lived north of Seattle. It's like, why are there spider webs on my car this morning? And then eventually one day I realized they were raining down from the sky, and then I've noticed it, many a times over the years now, but yesterday was especially bad. They were just coming down like crazy. And it's amazing that people don't observe this stuff. I mean, what's going on up in the sky, the stuff coming down out of the sky, but again, I'm not even tripping about that. I know that all sorts of shenanigans are going on in this world. I know there's toxins everywhere. That's why I try to eat healthy, get enough rest, and make sure I have things in my diet like cilantro and parsley, which do help filter heavy metals from the body. But I still don't think it's raining graphene oxide. I mean, that's like, well, it'd be pretty obvious. It's dark. It's gray. Anyhow, let's get into these rituals. Kevin McCarthy out on October 3rd, National Kevin Day. And what else is it about the date 10-3? 10-3 in the nation's capital, known as the Masonic City, where the Jesuits have been there for longer than the Masons or the Feds. Remember, in Gematria, the code they work by every single day in D.C. that all the fake truth speakers neglect every single day, as they miss the jokes every day, as they miss the rituals every day, as they spin their useless speculation every day. Again, 10-3. In Gematria, Jesuits equals 103, so does Scottish. And who created the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry? Oh, that's right, the Jesuits did. And again, D.C. has the Jesuits and the House of the Temple, the Scottish Rite headquarters there. So it's not hard to see who made it National Kevin Day and who's brought us this ritual to once again create unnecessary chaos and, just more politics and more narratives for people to get invested in. But look, Gematria. Again, very simple. ABC is 1, 2, 3 is the most simple cipher. Running it in reverse, Z is 1 back to A is 26 is another way. And then running it both ways with numerology is the other way. But Jesuits with the alphabetic order is 103. And Scottish with the reverse alphabetic order is 103. So this goes down on 10-3. The other number we always talk about in D.C. is 47, and a 47-year-old Mr. McHenry replaced Kevin McCarthy for the time being yesterday. But also, the headlines of chaos, a vote for chaos. Again, it was the day leaving 89 days left in the year, right? October 3rd leaves 89 days left in the year, the chaos code in full effect. And again, it's not by accident. It's all contrived and it's by design. It's the politics. It's the theater of politics. Notice Kevin McCarthy's 58 years old right now. Donald Trump, remember when he won the 58th election after he announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower and all the 58 rituals that ensued? In Gematria, Freemasonry equals 58, like secret society. And Kevin McCarthy, the 55th Speaker of the House. I guess that might make Patrick McHenry the 56th, since he's temporary. But this happened on the 251st day of McCarthy's age, which is the 54th prime number. And again, who runs DC? The Jesuit order does. The same gang that gave us the calendar and the language and how it's all synced up since the 16th century. From McCarthy's age to the ritual yesterday was, from his birthday, I should say, from his 58th birthday to the ritual yesterday was 269 days. That's the 57th prime number. Remember last year, Andy Reid got his 269th career win in Super Bowl 57. But Scottish Rite is 57, and it goes with George equaling 57, and several of the first presidents getting inaugurated at age 57. And it goes with Georgetown, the nation's first Jesuit university, equaling 57, which was established in 1789, the same year that George Washington became president of the United States. The one that gets recognized as the first in the history books. And of course, George Washington was favorable to the Catholic Church, where a lot of the founders were not, because a lot of the people who came over here were trying to escape the tyranny of Europe, which was brought to you by the Catholic Church, just like how they're the ones that bring you the tyranny today. And yes, again, Patrick McHenry, 47 years old. We just had the government funded for 47 more days, and we had Mr. Jamal Bowman at age 47 pull the fire alarm that day. Now we get 47-year-old Patrick McHenry. And Mick, that's pretty Scottish, isn't it? Can't get much more Scottish than Mick. So we got Patrick McHenry. And again, if you're new here, in Gematria, government, Republican, Democrat, DC, authority, president, White House, they all equal 47. All of those things equal 47. And again, that's the beauty of running it forwards and backwards, how brilliant the system is. Just DC alone's 47, like government, like president, like White House, like authority, like Republican, like Democrat, like Whig. Remember, the Whig Party became the Republican Party, thanks to Lincoln, who said 7 years ago. And then, the Masons got the pole star on the top of their compass, which is set at 47 degrees. And then they got the 47th problem of Euclid, which is it's about a lot of things, but it's also about how to establish foundation for a structure. And this nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month. And it's just the same shit over and over every single day. And I don't know. Somehow all these channels that claim to be about the truth just ignore this stuff every single day, and somehow they have legions of people listening to them. I guess it's because it's a society of morons. But anyway, notice also how Patrick McHenry's 74, our other favorite number, just like Kevin is 74, and again, DC's known as the Masonic City, and Masonic 74, like occult, like English, like Gematria, like London, like Holiday, like Independence Day, like Jesus Christ, like George Washington, who's portrayed as Jesus Christ in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol building up in the clouds. And then beneath the building, there's an open tomb like there's one for Jesus Christ. And, of course, Jesus is 74, and Cross is 74, and Messiah is 74, and Gospel is 74, and Parables is 74. And one of the qualifications to be a politician in D.C., seemingly, is that you got to believe in the man in the clouds, or at least say you do, and put your hand on the Bible. And, somehow, some way, a lot of people in the truth community think that they're awake. I'm awake. That's why I believe in Jesus and vote Republican, because I'm so awake. So, anyway. There's a lot of people who think they're awake, but they're sound asleep. They're living the American dream. And yeah, anyway, just another day of the same old shit. And this time, though, on National Kevin Day. Rough day for Kevin McCarthy. So, also, last night, before we talk more about 10-4 and all the things that are going viral right now. Oh, graphene oxide is going to be activated by your cell phone on 10-4. You know, I mean, if that was the conspiracy, like, why even announce it? Wouldn't they just be activating it every single day? But anyway, Morgan State University, Baltimore, historically black college. Here, let me just sum up this story right here with the early reporting, because really this reporting right here says it all. When the story first broke, here's how it was. Baltimore police are responding to an active shooter situation involving multiple victims at Morgan State University Tuesday night, the department confirmed to CNN. There is a preliminary report of 4 individuals shot somewhere on the university grounds. We don't know where they are, but there's 4 of them. Trust us, it's 4 again, and they're somewhere. I mean, it's just like, people keep, what are you gonna do, man? Take it from us, we're the authorities. They're somewhere. There were definitely shots fired. Hey, by the way, this came 33 weeks after the other MSU shooting, Michigan State University. But yeah, again, it's just Baltimore again, and this time it's exactly 131 days before the Super Bowl, and we call that the Super Bowl number. And again, it's interesting because the Super Bowl's on the 95th birthday of the Vatican, and about the most Catholic city in America is Baltimore, and Baltimore equals 95. And, you know, again, I'm not sure Baltimore's going to be in the Super Bowl. They're definitely going to be a big part of the playoff narrative. But if they're there, all these stories we've been documenting, you know, it'll be the tale of the tape. And let's not forget it is the 104th NFL season, and let's not forget the owner of the Orioles is born on 10/4, and so is the general manager, who are 2 different people with the same birthday. But yeah, we've been documenting all the Baltimore-related deaths connected to 104, and, you know, there's been some other shootings in Baltimore that we've talked about, and now we got this one. Exactly 131 days. And again, it being a historically black college matters because 42 is the number stamped all over black history, and this will be the first ever Super Bowl on the 42nd day of the year, which again is the Vatican's birthday. And Baltimore as a city is trying to go into their 5th Super Bowl all time. They're 3-1 in Super Bowls as a city. And at some point it went from they knew that 4 were out there somewhere to then there were 5 wounded. So the changing numbers. The routine. I mean, just if you were reading the story last night, the proof of the shooting was that there were police parked in front of the campus with their sirens on, and that they knew that the 4 victims were out there somewhere. So anyway, 10-4, FEMA conspiracy. Again, the media has been on about the conspiracy theories for today, and, you know, they got to get all their routine lines in there. Conspiracy theorists, conspiracy theories, anti-vaxxers. I guess that's the way they could have got the graphene oxide inside you. But anyway, I just, you know, I mean, it's like people won't give up on the ideas they've been putting out. And like I said from the beginning, remember in the beginning of this whole thing, we said no doubt the jabs are coming, but you know, the real thing about this agenda is the surveillance state that's being built. And I'm sure some people will draw the short stick from the jabs, but there was about, you know, like how everyone was going to die. You know, how you had the retards from Boston of the world driving around. Oh, hey, what's up, YouTube? I was driving down today and the second sun was out. And then, yeah, man, they're going to activate the 5G and we're all going to die. We're all literally going to fry. You know, and then that's somehow retard from Boston's become the number one truther on YouTube when he used to be irrelevant back before the rest of us got our channels deleted. Somehow he survived. But, you know, now he's off 4-wheeling every day because he's not going to come back and show his face. after all the false predictions. But like I was telling you back then, I don't think the 5G is going to fry us. I think it is here for the surveillance state, which is definitely what they're building. But yeah, it's the same types of people that just keep putting out this crap, and then this is the reason that my sister won't listen to anything, and people like my sister, because this is all she thinks it is just like false fear and false gloom and doom and false prediction after false prediction and false end of the world prediction and false Jesus is going to return prediction. And I mean, these people just like never go away and they never learn. The comments left like every day, hey Zach, I really like your work, but you're wrong about Jesus because he's about to return any day now. Man, again, if I had a penny for every time somebody left a comment that Jesus is just going to be here any day now to save the whole show, I'd be a trillionaire. 1 penny at a time, already a trillionaire from all the comments left. But, yeah, again, I wish people would quit with the just trying to be like more apocalyptic than Hollywood, Don't you realize, like, you think you're not under mind control, but you're the most under mind control. You're watching all the Hollywood movies, and again, you're preaching the end of the world every day. Don't get me wrong. At some point, they probably do plan to turn the power off on the nation for a week and let all-out chaos break out so that then they can bring on the full surveillance state and whatever else they're going to bring out of it. But, that is what they do. They bring the disaster so that they can bring about the next phase of the agenda. But at the same time, it's like there's just so much speculation on shit that there's no evidence for and no logical explanation for. Oh, Zach's a shill. He doesn't believe in the 5 Earth and he doesn't think the 5G is going to fry us. Why would I think the 5G is going to fry us? Cell phone technology's been around. Is it having a harmful impact on our health? I wouldn't be shocked if it is. Like I've said many a times, shortly after cell phones came out, my ear started buzzing every single day, which I've had for literally every day now since January of 2006. I mean, cell phones came out and were becoming a lot more popular about 7 years before that. And a part of me thinks, had we not gone to cell phone world, this wouldn't have happened to my ear because I don't know what else happened. But it doesn't happen to everybody. Some of us might be more sensitive than others. So, again, I'm not saying there's no health consequences from all this. It's just, again, the retards from Boston of the world, the big claims that never come through. If he was on the tube today, he'd be saying the same shit and proven wrong again. Okay, here's how Rolling Stone covered it. Is there a zombie apocalypse activated by 5G towers on the way? Wrote the QAnon influencer behind a Telegram channel called The Patriot Voice, which is followed by more than 50,000 people in a post shared at the end of September. And again, how can anybody still be following QAnon? I mean, literally just like packs of morons. What do you guys like, being wrong about everything? You know what was annoying is when YouTube was labeling my videos QAnon when I'd been exposing it since it showed up on the scene. Again, QAnon, just another thing to make the... And again, who are the QAnon people? They're the people who vote Republican and think being awake is believing in Jesus Christ. Here, I'm going to believe everything the authorities told me, and I'm going to follow their religion and their politics because I'm so awake. And what was QAnon all about? It was all about keeping you believing in government. Sit back and trust the plan. Donald Trump, the Jesuit scumbag's going to save you. Okay. Again, the message cites a supposed military expert's claim that COVID-19 vaccines contain sealed pathogens, including E. coli bacteria and the viruses. Again, we do know that the one thing that's in jabs is mercury. And what day did Trump declare Operation Warp Speed? The day to celebrate Mercury, Mercuralia, May 15th, the same day the Clade X simulation went down on. 666 days before the pandemic was declared. I mean, these things are facts, and those are the real things to look at. And yeah, there definitely are concerns, and I definitely did warn about that and why you should not become part of the guinea pig agenda for Operation Warp Speed. But again, we didn't take it over the top. We didn't take it to, when they turn on the 5G, we're all going to fry and die. Didn't do that. Knew that wasn't going to happen. That just didn't make any sense. And the people were saying that. They were saying that was going to happen to you whether you got jabbed or not. So I said, no, that doesn't make sense. I mean, 5G it's a bump up in the signal strength from 4G, but I don't know how it could possibly, we're all going to fry and die, like everybody was saying over and over. It was annoying. I'd do a video on anything. My whole comments would be like, hey, Zach doesn't think the Earth's flat, and we're all going to fry and die. He's not covering that either. Like, well, yeah, what I don't do, what I stay away from on this channel is useless speculation and information that doesn't help anything with anything. I try to show how the government makes a joke of us every day, like 10-4 message received on 10-4. The rituals of, Donald the Chump Trump being called the president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, when he's all about building that wall and he's running on Ronald Reagan's MAGA, the highest degree of the satanic church. Trump wants to build the wall. Ronald Reagan said, tear down that wall. These are the things we point out here so that people can see the way we're being made fun of every day and how rigged the game is. We're not about, getting amped up on the fear through the roof. But anyway. So anyway, I was saying, they were speculating that E. coli was put in there and the Marburg and Ebola viruses, and they'd all be released with the 18 gigahertz 5G frequency. Yeah, it sounds right up there with... Anyway, FEMA plans on doing a test of the EBS on October 4th or the 11th. Oh, so they might do it again next week. Well, I do know that next week, October 11th, is 187 weeks after the pandemic was declared. So I do have October 11th circled for an interesting date. And I guess it's at 2:22 p.m. now? I thought it was 2:20. Well, we know what 2:22 is. I would turn off all 5G devices, the writer concluded. I think it's actually at 2:20. That's what I've seen. 222 is an interesting number, though. If you've read my book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, I explain why Trump was in Switzerland on the 222nd day of his age with the World Economic Forum, gloating about his trade deal with China, the same day that Wuhan coronavirus was confirmed in the U.S., the thing that has 222 Gematria, like World Economic Forum, like New York, where it was simulated, like how the pandemic was declared 222 months after 9/11 happened. But anyway, I think the actual time for the alert is at 2:20. And then it says, I would turn off all 5G devices, the writer concluded. Similar claims about a test alert that will activate deadly diseases within vaccinated people and warnings to turn off phones have been viewed hundreds of thousands of times on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. By the way, you can still move to more rural towns where they still don't have 5G. I happen to live in one of those towns right now. But, the majority of America does live in more populated places where 5G are, and I think the odds of you frying and dying today are extremely slim. So I wouldn't go around turning your hair gray today. Again, stress is the real killer. Positive mind states have positive impacts. And yeah, there are a lot of things to be concerned about in this world, and this government, it does need to be, it needs to be done away with. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying don't get all caught up in the stuff that goes viral on the internet in the conspiracy community, because it's always pushed by these same big tech companies that censor everything that matters. They want you caught up in the paranoia so that yet again you'll look really stupid to your friends and family that aren't awake. That's the game. They want to keep making the person questioning authority look dumb. That's a big part of the game. Turn off your cell phones on October 4th. The EBS is going to test the system using 5G. This will activate the Marburg virus. Well, you better turn off your TV then, too, because it's on your TV. You better turn off your radio, because they're sending out the message everywhere. And make sure the message is received on 10-4 everywhere. So Rolling Stone says, virtually nothing in these comments is accurate, save for the fact that the Federal Emergency Management Agency and Federal Communications Commission are conducting the test of emergency alert system and wireless emergency alerts on October 4th. The Emergency Broadcast System, or EBS, was replaced by the EAS in 1997. The wireless portion, to occur at approximately 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time, will be directed to all consumer cell phones and consist of a simple message. This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency alert system. No action is needed. At most, it will be a mild surprise of annoyance, and it certainly won't turn you into a zombie. And again, I mean, they do these randomly, right? I'm sure you've all been watching TV, and all of a sudden it's interrupted for this test of the emergency broadcast system. So, again, I think they just want you to know that you're getting this message, and they're kind of slapping you in the face with it. Because, again, 10-4 message received. Just a little simple ritual, like how they do simple rituals every day, and most people do not recognize them, even though it's right in your face. Like, how about the ritual of 9/11, the national emergency on 9/11? You know, a lot of people didn't even dawn on them what had been done. The obvious lies and ritual that was to build the surveillance state and start another needless war and put money in people's pockets and, you know, take money out of people's, you know, retirement, as they did with the market collapsing after then, as it's collapsing right now. All things in cycles. But anyway, just to read the Rolling Stone, but for online conspiracists, the bland bureaucratic announcement of such a test can only portend some kind of disaster, preferably the kind they can brace for while the rest of the clueless public remains unprepared. The exact nature of the October 4th event depends on who is offering the prediction, but theories tend to focus on the alleged dangers of vaccines and 5G signals. So, and again, I mean, if you didn't participate in the guinea pig Operation Warp Speed ritual, another reason to not be stressing out. You know, if they are doing anything, that would heighten the odds. But again, the problem with if you participate in that is the thing's already in your body. And every day your cell phone is around you. And a cell phone's a machine that pretty much has limited capability and functionality. And I don't see how this text message that you're going to receive is going to be any different than any other text message. 5G cellular networks, which telecoms began implementing in 2019, have been erroneously associated with COVID and vaccines by conspiracists throughout the pandemic. Again, here's the one connection that matters about 5G and what they did with COVID. And to make the point, let me go to the latest Snickers ad, because they are snickering at us. But just to remind you about what we've been talking about for years, remember, everything with coronavirus was 56. Literally every single thing they did was 56, and it all got started off with the Jesuit scumbag Gavin Newsom, who's also Mr. 56 himself, who again said 56% of California is going to get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. And his name in Gematria equals 56, like Society of Jesus, like Anthony Fauci, like coronavirus, like COVID vaccine, like toilet paper, like how Trump's Jesuit education began 56 years before 2020, like how Cuomo was the 56th governor of New York, how the first celebrity with the virus, Tom Hanks, was born in 56, and the first city with the virus was Seattle with its 56th mayor, Jenny Durkin, who's a little Jesuit. Just like out in Chicago, the other place with the virus had their 56th mayor, Lori Lightfoot, with the same birthday as Obama, who won the 56th presidential election, like Black Lives Matter equals 56, which is another Jesuit operation, and on and on and on and on and on. And let's not forget that in Sleepless in Seattle, starring Tom Hanks, his wife dies in Chicago from illness, causing him to move out to Seattle after a scene at the Johns Hopkins, who did the Event 201 and Claydex simulations. But anyway, and let's not forget that Johns Hopkins comes out to Skull and Bones is related to the Knights Templar, and the Knights Templar's cross is in the Jesuits logo. But anyway, this is the new Snickers ad, how hoarding 56 rolls of toilet paper, remember, coronavirus caused the toilet paper to sell out because you wipe your ass and it's all shit, just like coronavirus and all this stuff, and even this useless fear speculation. But doesn't 56 look like 5G? Yes, it does. And again, they were using the new 5G systems rolling out for the new levels of surveillance. Remember what they told us in the media at that time? Apple and Google partnered up with the government. And because of the new 5G technology that was rolling out, they could literally look in like a home and see how many people were in the home with their cell phones on. And because of the 5G bandwidth, they can detect how densely rooms were populated. Were too many people in a room together? Were these spring breakers too densely packed together in places that were only supposed to have X amount of people standing 6 feet apart? Again, the new technology allowed new levels of surveillance and tracking in the surveillance state that's been being built since 9/11 and the time of the Patriot Act, and really even just before that. But again, that's the 5G thing we've been pointing out, how 5G and 56 align, and, not how it's going to fry you from the inside out, because retard from Boston said so. A guy who was obscure and nobody ever heard of until everybody else's channel got deleted, And the funny thing about retard from Boston is back when he was a nobody, he came on my radar because he did a video thanking me because he said I saved him from going to the Oregon standoff hoax. Remember how we called out the Oregon standoff psyop the moment it broke? Because we said, oh, what do you know, man? Oregon just lost in the Alamo Bowl, Alamo a standoff, a record comeback in that game that Disney immediately said they were thinking about making a movie about. And then right after Oregon loses, all of a sudden, the national news stories that there's a standoff in rural Oregon at a closed federal building in a part of the state that nobody lives in. It's like, how's all the news media there? Okay, so these guys are at a closed federal building in a rural area that nobody goes to, and somehow all the news media is there to cover it? I mean, how obvious is the psyop? How obvious is it synced up with the sports game again? Like all the Kevins losing as Kevin McCarthy's thrown out on National Kevin Day. Again, why are we here proving our points in spades every single day? And I mean, back when that happened, retard from Boston had like 1,000 subscribers, and we had a lot more, rightfully so. But then before we knew it, we were deleted, and so was everyone else. And retard from Boston had climbed to 500,000 subscribers. Driving down the road, oh yeah, the second sun was out again today. Wearing the full armor of God. I learned when I say I believe in Jesus, all of a sudden the suckers come here and support my channel. Look at me now, I got a Toyota FJ. Again, you guys, I mean, the easiest way to milk the populace is to just, get behind that whole Jesus mind control. Look at every church. Go to the poorest communities of America, everything's broke down except for the church. When we were out in Buffalo, shout out to the gentleman who came out every day, gave me a tour of the town. They said that's what we call the pastors around here. Pastor Biscuit, soaking up all the wealth. Everybody's broke but them. Look at Pastor Biscuit's nice car. And again, for all people who come out and say I'm a shill, again, if I was a shill, I'd be riding the waves of the mind control. I'd be like, oh yeah, I absolutely believe in Jesus. Oh yeah, of course the earth is flat. Look at how viral flat earth is. Oh yeah, I'm definitely voting Republican. Let's go Trump. Flat earth, Trump, Jesus. I mean, probably would have never got deleted. We'd probably be up to 10 million subs by now. I'd probably be living in the Vatican. So all the morons come here and think because I go against the mind control and the psyops that makes me a shill. And that's because you guys are morons. It's also why you're speculating that you're going to fry and die today. Anyway. The exact nature of the October 4th event depends on who is offering the prediction, but theories tend to focus on the alleged dangers of vaccines and 5G signals. 5G cellular networks, which telecoms began implementing in 2019, have been erroneously associated with COVID and vaccines by conspiracists throughout the pandemic. In the UK this past June, 2 anti-vaxxers were convicted of a criminal plot to destroy 5G towers they referred to as enemy infrastructure. And remember, that was another contrived ritual. Again, just meant to, put those ripples out there so that, again, people like my sister, they're getting their programming and then they start associating those people with me. My sister thinks of me as these people, even though this isn't the message I promote. My message is, we're being made fun of every day. We're being manipulated. We're being lied to. The game is rigged. Your energy's being harvested. We're being led down a dangerous agenda where we have less and less rights and liberties, and the surveillance state grows more and more. And if you have not read my book, Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus, I mean, that's pretty much what the premise of the book is about. How the technology was rolling out, the cell phones with the listening devices and the cameras. At the same time, they take down the towers, and the newly remodeled section of the Pentagon gets hit on the anniversary of Pentagon construction beginning so that they can roll out 30 years of legislation that never passed from all the psychopaths who wanted the surveillance state, but then overnight they can package it into the Patriot Act. And then with the new listening devices and tracking devices in all of our pockets, now they have, again, you see what I'm saying, how it comes together? The cell phones here that provides all the capability for the spy state. And now we have the reason to make these the laws of the land, which they become. And then everybody's like, well, at least I got Tom Brady to watch. Man, that guy Tom Brady and the Patriots is so good after the Patriot Act. It's funny how that team just sucked dick every year it existed until the Patriot Act came around. Can't figure out what's going on here. But, no, Lispy, that wasn't an invite to come over to my house. Every time he hears me say that, he gets excited. No, it's not an invite. I don't want you to suck my dick, Lispy. If you guys don't know who that is, don't worry about it. But, people with their selective listening. Anyway. 9/11's that. Then COVID's all synced up with 9/11, and now we got this new 5G bandwidth that gives this enhanced tracking capability. And again, they showed us how it was being used at the beginning, and they picked on spring breakers the most, which was fitting because it was spring break time when the pandemic was declared. Be afraid, spring breakers with young, strong immune systems, especially all of you out celebrating in Mexico and Florida and Southern California where there's all this sun and vitamin D. The 99.9% survivable illness is so dangerous. And the thing that's annoying is I can remember at the beginning of that, sweet lady was talking to her friend, and they were both crying on the phone because, remember what CNN and all the cable news networks were doing at the beginning of the pandemic? And now it's even come out that they lied. They were making up those stories. And what did I tell you back then? I said, is this stuff even true? Probably not. But there were stories about how 28-year-old man went to bed with sniffles and woke up dead from COVID-19. And it turns out none of that shit was even true. Has YouTube removed CNN's page or ABC's or CBS's or NBC's? I know my page got removed a whole bunch of times for telling the truth. Everything I said was right. I even predicted when the phase of the pandemic bullshit would end dead on. I wrote it down in a book, which they couldn't delete. It was all dead on the money. Imagine if the conspiracy theorist stereotype was the information I'd been putting out for all this time. Would we be wrong about anything? Who warned about 2020 5 years before it came around? Who explained what Donald Trump really was? Who explained why Joe Biden would become the next president? Who nailed a lot of this stuff dead on without over-the-top fear and useless speculation based in nothing, But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we've been right. Even my own family member, my sister, she doesn't know anything. She just assumes that I'm like QAnon now. She just knows that I'm questioning everything like the QAnon people. Again, these stereotypes become all of us. YouTube was taking down my videos calling me QAnon. I wasn't promoting anything like QAnon. Here's the Rolling Stone article. Let's continue. My family believes the end is near, a Redditor wrote recently on QAnon casualties, a subreddit where people can commiserate about their friends and loved ones falling down the rabbit holes of the conspiracist QAnon movement. According to my father, or October 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, the government is going to use the emergency broadcast system to play a frequency that will activate the RFID chips in vaccinated people and trigger the beginning of the Great Replacement. The Post explained. In a way, I wish they were right. I wish they were right, man. In the slim chance they're right, I hope they are. Just because, God, all the people who... Let me just continue to read this article. The idea that the vaccines contain radio frequency identification tags so that the elites like Bill Gates or George Soros can track individuals according to some anti-vaxxers is a falsehood typically conflated with paranoia about 5G networks. Again, they don't even have to put anything inside your body right now to track you. You're carrying around your phone everywhere you go with it. That's the tracking device for now. Can it eventually be mandated to be put in our body? I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tracking device in the future that's mandated to be put in our body. We've been talking about all the technology they've been researching. And It would not be shocking. We know these people play by the biblical playbook. That's why they first simulated the pandemic exactly 666 days before it was declared. Again, 666, the mark of the beast, the number you must have if you want to buy or sell. A vaccination with the Sumerian Gematria 666. Not by accident. It's amazing how cleverly they have it all laid out. The Great Replacement, meanwhile, is a white nationalist conspiracy theory which holds that white citizens in Western nations are being systematically replaced with non-white immigrants. Racist mass shooters have regularly invoked the concept of their manifestos. You know what I hate about how the media does this? It was the mainstream media that was telling people that if you were darker complected, you needed to get the vaccine the most. If you're darker complected, you are most susceptible. You need to get the jab the most. And again, Event 201 was the simulation. How many people were in the control group for the Tuskegee experiment? Why was it also 201? Why is it that the Jesuits have this long history of 201? Why is it that Lincoln said the Jesuits were the most racist and most, the biggest supporters of slavery in America? But they try to make it seem like, I would not say that the conspiracy movement online is racist. I don't think so. I don't think so at all, but I do think the COVID agenda and the jab agenda was very racist. Where's the science that says darker complected people are more susceptible to dying from COVID? Where's that at? Show me any real evidence of that. Because I do know that they were telling them over and over that they needed to get jabbed the most. And I do know also that they said the first vaccinated American was a black woman, Sandy Lindsay, on the anniversary of Sandy Hook. Remember how Sandy Hook was established in 1956 and the shooting happened 56 years later and Adam Peter Lanza equals 56? Funny how that worked out. And then the first jabs are on that anniversary in a major 56 ritual, and then the first vaccinated people in the world are Maggie Keenan, which equals 56, and William Shakespeare and Coventry. And you look up what Coventry means. It means, to become like a social outcast, and then you were made an outcast if you didn't participate in the agenda. And then Captain Tom died 56 days after Maggie Keenan got vaccinated, a day after Burma's government fell, and he was known for the Burma campaign, which equals 56. And George Orwell's first book's about the Burma campaign, and the first number he puts in the book is 56. George Orwell, whose most famous book is a number, who was a member of the Fabian Society, which is an offshoot of the Jesuits. Anyway, you think George Orwell knew the Gematria Code? If he didn't, his publisher did. Maybe George Orwell, when he wrote Burma Campaign, or about his book about the Burma Campaign, maybe he didn't initially have 56 in there. Maybe his editor came through and said, George, you wrote the person was 43 here, but we'd like to make him 56. How do you feel about that? Well, as long as you're paying me the check, 56 will do just fine. Anyway, because most of this fear-mongering concerns allegedly harmful cell phone signals, the conspiracist community is also sharing pseudo-scientific advice about how to protect oneself during the FEMA test. My Patriot Supply. Oh yeah, get your basement snacks. Get your retard from Boston made a lot of money on the basement snacks. It's going down. We're all going to fry and die. Hide in your basement and buy some of these dried potatoes. You can eat them dry. My Patriot Supply, a retailer that sells survival food kits and other equipment to preppers expecting societal collapse, warned that the U.S. government will break into your phone on October 4th. They're already in your phone. They break into your phone every single day. Have you not figured that out yet? They're in your phone. And they recommend purchasing one of their Faraday bags, a pouch that blocks electromagnetic fields to keep their devices in. Others have suggested putting your phone in an unplugged microwave, believing it will act as a Faraday cage, likewise blocking electromagnetic radiation. Don't get me wrong. We should all get rid of our cell phones. I tried to do this years ago. I tried to get rid of my cell phone, and man, I became a social outcast. Nobody wanted to talk to me anymore. I just set up a landline, and nobody called me anymore. I thought, man, it's weird. It's like if you don't have a cell phone, nobody wants to talk to you anymore. My mom just told me in a panic that on October 4th, Joe Biden will use cell phones to attack the whole population of the United States. This is a Stephen King movie, by the way. Stephen King also equals 56. And remember how the remake of The Stand was announced right before COVID hit? I thought, that's funny. It's funny how they got it all synced up. Biden will use cell phones to attack the whole population of the United States, something about a frequency that can harm and kill, wrote another Redditor on QAnon casualties. She told me that I need to wrap my cell phone in aluminum foil and place it in the microwave for the day. I shit you not. Even if FEMA were sending some kind of nefarious 5G signals to your phone, a microwave's Faraday shields, the technology which ensures the radiation that heats your food remains within the oven, wouldn't stop them from going through. Microwaves aren't perfect. Faraday cages and actually leak. And if you put your phone in there and call it, it will probably ring. I suppose you have two phones, you could test that. Still others are foreseeing more drastic scenarios and taking more extreme precautions. A TikTok user sowing alarm over the October 4th test alert shared a clip from the 2016 sci-fi horror film Cell. That's the Stephen King film, in which a mysterious signal received by phones turns their owners into rabid killers who foam at the mouth. The video has been viewed more than 1 million times. Another conspiracy anticipates total internet blackout and the need to withdraw any money from bank accounts before systems go down. And one Redditor posted screenshots of a text exchange with a worried landlord who said he would be shutting off power to multiple apartments for several hours and told tenants to avoid looking at screens during that time because light can also be turned against us. Yeah, it has been for all of our lives through these screens where we're mind controlled every day and lied to and steered down the wrong paths and instigated by the wrong things. I mean, everything that everyone's worried about today, they should be worried about every day because it's what's going on every day. Need to revolt against these systems. I was doing a great job of revolting against these systems. Sadly, what brought me back into them is trying to speak out against them because you have to pay attention to get people to wake up. And again, for all people that hate me, it's like, you guys, before you knew who I was, before I was on YouTube and putting out information, I was awake to what was going on in the world, and I was doing my best to combat things and not participate in the systems. And I just realized that, me doing these things by myself, well, if the rest of humanity or nearly the rest of humanity is not awake and riding on the slave ship and helping build the slave ship bigger and bigger and falling for all the tricks of the slave masters, I'm going down with the ship with it. So that was my incentive to start speaking out and educating people about the things I educate about and how you can see through the rituals and the mockery. And again, we have reached a lot of people, and we would have reached a lot more if it wasn't for all the big tech censorship. But, yeah, again, the downside of this last decade of my life is I've been drawn back into the system in some ways, trying to expose it. Anyways, to continue the end of the story, that none of these dire prophecies will come to pass on Wednesday is unlikely to dissuade true believers from making the same kind of claims in the future. Exactly right. Every year, September 23rd comes up, and every year everyone thinks the world's going to end on September 23rd. Like, every day somebody has some new observation about Nibiru. Nibiru's coming through today. Today it's going to be Nibiru. Nibiru's going to get us all today, or if not today, tomorrow, and then after that day, then Jesus will return. My God, man. It's like, no, what's going to keep happening is we're going to keep getting fucked in the ass by the people who run this nation, and that's going to continue to happen until we overthrow these people, because there's only really a little bit of them, and there's a lot of us, and there's a lot of power in us if we could just work together and organize and network and be smart and not be fearful of things we don't need to be fearful of. And that's the thing, too. I mean, just everyone's so afraid. Oh, well, Zach, I'd support the work, but I'm worried they'll track my support. And then it's like, okay, we're all being tracked. We're all being data mined. We're essentially all being watched. That's going on. And it's going to continue to go on, whether you're doing this or that. It's going to go on until the day that we revolt and we burn it all down. And that's really what needs to happen. And for the whack job in San Francisco, who literally does sound like a quack, he's online accusing every day that I'm trying to build this honeypot. It's just like, but then he's he just sounds like such a fearful little loser. And he is a little guy, poor little guy. But again, you guys, be afraid of the right things. Like, be afraid of what the world's going to look like in another 20 years if nothing's done. You know, if the same tyrants are in control, you know, we know they work on the 19-year cycle. 2039 is now 16 years away. Every 19 years, they got a big whopper for us. 19 years before COVID-19 was the 19 hijackers. 19 years before that was the war on drugs. 19 years before that was the war on JFK's head, which taught a generation of people to cower in fear. Don't go against the grain. You might get your head blown off next. 19 years before that was the year the most people were deployed to World War II. I don't know what happened 19 years before that, but it was probably something. The 19-year cycle of the moon. These people sure like their 19s. And it's also part of the chaos code, and it's part of the order out of chaos motto. And yeah, the world is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. It's probably never going to happen all in one day. There'll be days where worse things happen than others, like 9/11 and the day the pandemic's declared. And, you know, again, Janet Napolitano, as she exited office, did say that the next 9/11 is not if but when, and it is the national power grid going down. And we know in recent times, 60 Minutes did the special on just how easy it would be to take down the national power grid. And we've been hearing rumors of could be Russia or North Korea who cyber hack us and take down the grid. That's probably my biggest fear of the next major plot. But I don't know when it's going to come, and maybe they're saving it for 2039. These people work at a snail's pace. Still, I'm not tripping. I got supplies. I got ammunition. I got weaponry. I got things for when that day comes to ensure or improve my odds of survival. And so should you. Again, live with your head on a swivel. Be aware of the nation you live in and the way it operates. But at the same time, don't trip on things that don't make any sense. Your phone's going to kill you? Probably not. Probably not. In the QAnon and anti-vaxxers world, see, that's the thing I hate too, is like how they equate the nonsense with the things that are not nonsense. There's a lot of reasons to be curious about the jabs. Case in point, why did they have to stop the jab for polio once upon a time? And why did they want everybody to get the polio jab? Polio was something that essentially affected newborns and really young children. They wanted everybody to get the polio vaccine, no matter how old they were. I'm sure part of it was to make a lot of money for the people holding the patents, like the Rockefellers, who are big in the jabs. You know, the Rockefellers, greedy tyrants who went into the philanthropy vaccine business, just like Bill the scumbag Gates. But yeah, and don't forget where they first demoed the polio jab was at a school called Arsenal Elementary School. Like Arsenal, a military supply, like Operation Warp Speed, a military agenda. Pretty much everything in this nation's a military agenda, like how your news networks have always been military from the beginning. If you didn't know that, look it up. Every anchor when the TV first came out was military educated. But anyway, in the QAnon and anti-vaxxer worlds, many would-be pivotal dates have come and gone without a great upheavals that were meant to occur at appointed moments. Donald Trump wasn't sworn in as president instead of Biden. Yes, he was. Joe Biden's been in the Donald Trump bodysuit all this time. Wasn't sworn in as president instead of Biden. John F. Kennedy Jr. didn't come back to life, but RFK Jr. did, and the vaccines haven't caused a mass die-off. But a lot of people have perished for unexplained reasons. It doesn't faze these communities, which simply move on to the next narrative. For the record, though, your phone is transmitting 5G signals every day, including when you text everyone in your life to tell them how dangerous 5G is. Just something to keep in mind. Well, unless you don't live in a neighborhood or a community that has 5G yet. yeah, again, you guys, I mean, just don't live in fear. I mean, that's always my message. Don't live in fear, but be aware of what's wrong in the world and try to stop things that are wrong. And there's a lot wrong, and there's a lot that needs to be stopped. But yeah, 10-4 message received day, it's just a little joke. Like Kevin McCarthy ousted on National Kevin Day. And again, sometimes the big jokes are bigger than others. 9/11, the most cruel joke we've seen in our lifetimes. That said, most of us on 9/11, in terms of our physical safety, were pretty much physically safe. Now, they wanted to speculate every day to keep us in fear. Today's a red day, it's an orange day, it's a yellow day. For the next 2 weeks, it's a missing blonde day, missing blonde day, missing blonde day. Okay, our ratings show that people are wearing out on the missing blonde. Today's an orange day. It's an orange day today. Natalie Holloway. So, anyway, yeah, we'll do TFR tonight after we all survive the 10-4 message alert. And Trump spent 15 minutes in jail. Was that in Atlanta? Hold on, I haven't seen that headline. We call Atlanta the 15-minute. Trump, 15 minutes in jail. Is that a story? Oh, yeah. It wasn't Atlanta. Again, you guys, Atlanta is so 15, it's got two connections in Gematria. Atlanta's 15 in the most pure cipher, alphabetic order and numerology. And it's 120 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, which is the 15th triangular number. So, and then Atlanta's 120 and 48, and it's also 69, like Illuminati. And the Illuminati was founded on the first day of the 5th month by a Jesuit, and Donald Trump's Jesuit educated. And essentially, he's in the club that George Carlin talked about, where we are not. But nice. I missed that. Hey, you know what else is interesting about August 24th in history? It's the day Mount Vesuvius blew. Mount Vesuvius, August 24th. So, happy birthday to you then, Amawan. Born in 88, so you're, what, 35 today? 35. That was the day. I remember my 35th birthday. It was the first day. I looked in the mirror that day when I woke up, and I'd never noticed gray facial hair before, and I had some on my chin on my 35th birthday. I thought, what in the world? President Donald Trump also 10-4. Yeah, a lot of 104. Powerball was at 1.04 billion. It's the 104th NFL season. Taylor Allison Swift, 104, part of the 104th NFL season. Tupac Amaru Shakur, 104. He's in the news. They finally got his killer. Okay. Yeah, exactly. They want people to live in fear. Fear is an emotion that makes people consume. They want people to consume stuff out of fear. Well, look at all the overstated storms, right? All the overstated storms that sell out the big box stores. You know, fear is a primary mechanism to sell, and a lot of you guys worship these channels that are shills who try to scare the shit out of you, and then at the end of the stream tell you to buy their basement snacks. And then you come here and say that, oh, no, they're not the shill because they believe in Jesus and are voting for Donald Trump. It's Zach who's the shill. Zach is the shill. He does not believe in the man in the sky. Okie dokie. I'm just getting my eyes on the chat. See what other people are saying and thinking. But here, let me see what else is buzzing in the news before we wrap this thing up. We do have TFR tonight. TFR will be back in effect tonight. And I still haven't heard from Chris Geo, so I don't know what's going on. And is it an inside job on the network? Are they trying to get rid of me? I don't know why somebody's on the phone line each week connected through my connection port who has the power to manipulate it. If the call board doesn't work tonight, I will be very annoyed. But Biden cancels another $9 billion in student loan debt. Oh, I guess we'll just tack it on to the national debt. Oh, hey, that was a nice stat I saw this morning. Your latest federal 33 for Ukraine. Apparently, we're not as committed to Ukraine because we don't give up as much of our GDP as Estonia does. But apparently, all that we're spending on Ukraine is 0.33% of GDP. It almost makes up 100% of news media, though. Every day it's Ukraine. The other things that get sprinkled in are the latest Donald Trump distraction, a little Hunter Biden distraction, a little LGBTQ. I mean, CNN for a top story the last 2 days. Beige flag is the confusing new dating term to know. Like, why do they want people to even... I can't figure out what's going on. You know where's a better place to meet people than online? Out in person. But oh yeah, nobody goes outside anymore because they're all so afraid. Amber Alerts, Cooties 19, terrorists, mass shooters. Today there was a mass shooting at this location, says authorities. The proof is the sirens are flashing and they know the bodies are somewhere. I don't know. I imagine we'll get a text message at 2:20 Eastern, which is 11:20 out here on the West Coast, which is a little less than 2 hours away. And I imagine it'll be done. Okay, so CNN's on the McCarthy distraction. I wish the government would just shut down for good. Save me a lot of tax money each year. Oh, hey, a 47-year-old. Thank you, Fox News. What do we got for the latest 47? Singer known for covering her face during performances reveals facelift at 47 years old. Sia. They had to make sure that you knew she was 47 because it's the news today. Again, before I knew Gematria, I was just like, why do they have to tell us about 47 so much? Like, why does it matter 47? Then it all starts to make sense once you learn Gematria and what these people are into. Chandelier singer Sia reveals facelift at 47 years old. Thanks, surgeon. Can't say enough good about him. Travis Kelce, he's going to tell you to get the jab. Maybe he can be this year's Damar Hamlin. That'd be funny. Singer Sia revealed she had a facelift procedure. Okay, anyway, I don't really care. I just, it's just the fact that they got to let you know she's 47. I guess it's the new thing. Botox is out. Just pay the extra bucks for the facelift. And my God, if you're somebody out there spending money on Botox, stop. Just let yourself get older. It's part of life. Shows that you've been around. You might know a thing or two. Stop making everything so much about the physical. Former ESPN host trashes The View on Bill Maher's podcast. What else is important for Americans to know? Writer who called journalists fat lesbians sentenced to prison. Hold on. You can't... Wait. Wait a minute. I told a guy yesterday, stick to pumping gas, fat ass. I hope I'm not going to prison next. And the reason I said that too, I'm sure it wasn't the most mature thing, but the reason I said that is because he did a video saying that Zach says that 132 means Roman Catholic, but I know somebody who was on Tyra Banks' model show, and Tyra Banks equals 132, so how do we know that 132 is not really connected to Tyra Banks? And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, who made that video yesterday, don't worry. But he's been on this tirade ever since COVID came to say that everything's organic and nothing means anything. But yeah, here, actually, hold on, I'll keep up all the ciphers. Here, I want to remind you guys about this. Roman Catholic equals 132 and 219, right? Catholic Church equals 132. Okay, but Roman Catholic 132 in reverse 219. Antonin Scalia, the nation's first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice, is also 132 and 219. And does everybody remember when Antonin Scalia was found dead? It was on the 13th day of the second month. And do you remember when his body was on display at the Supreme Court? It was February 19th. And, you know, Discount Dan is now like saying that, oh, that's just a coincidence. And yeah, it's just a coincidence that United States of America equals 132, and there's 132 rooms in the White House, and the United States of America was named 132 days from the establishment of the Illuminati on May 1st, 1776. Didn't know that? Look it up. It's a fact. And again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, and the Jesuits served the Roman Catholic Church. So, I mean, to seriously be going like, well, Zach thinks like 132's Roman Catholic, but Tyra Banks equals 132, and I know a girl who knew Tyra Banks, so I mean, like, why do we not know Tyra? I mean, it's like, dude, are you fucking serious right now? God. Now I understand why my mom told me to apply myself so I didn't end up working at the gas station. Shout out to all the people who work at the gas station. I'm sure so there's some good ones out there, but my God, like, are you being serious? God. Is your brain made of Twinkies? And then he starts talking about how he's like, man, and my child, they just keep blasting the TV at night, and I'm just like, I can't get them. It's like, yeah, you can't get your TV to your child. Like, I'm sure you're... How about stop doing Gematria decodes and figure out how to get your child under control? How about that? Talk about... Have you guys ever seen the movie Idiocracy? It's what I thought of when I was listening to this decode. I just thought... Oh, by the way, with the whole Antonin Scalia Catholic thing, Antonin Scalia hunting with Catholic secret society. This should pull it up. He was with his, what were they called? The Knights of St. Hubertus. Scalia died after hanging out, hold on, where's the headline? Hanging out with a centuries-old secret society of hunters. The group's slogan, which is in Latin, the language of Rome, means honoring God by honoring his creatures. He was found dead at a remote Texas ranch, and let's not forget how this was synced up with Dick Cheney shooting the lawyer friend in the face while hunting nearby, and how they were both... the Family Guy cartoon had the cartoon where Dick Cheney shoots Antonin Scalia in the face. I mean, all this stuff was foreshadowed. But yeah, here it is right here. He was with the International Orders of St. Hubertus. Man, well, that's Catholic too, so... again, Discount Dan, no discernment Dan. I think that all these things speak to why my argument of 132 being definitely a Catholic thing, not to mention the White House that has 132 rooms in it was built by a Catholic architect. I think all of this stuff speaks to the fact of why 132 probably is Roman Catholic and why these rituals are synced up on a calendar named after a Catholic pope. When all of this was lined up in the 16th century, which is verifiable shortly after the Jesuits were created. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable that somebody could even utter such a stupid phrase. And also, where No Discernment Dan's talking about this, he's talking about how my Gematria teachings are misleading people. I'm misleading people by showing that this is a Catholic conspiracy. He literally says that, I think my thing makes more sense about Tyra Banks and how, like, I knew a girl who was on her show. Like, oh, boy. If you guys have never listened to No Discernment Dan, historically, he'd be doing a good decode. This is once upon a time prior to 2020. But then he'd always make it look dumb at the end because he'd been like, but then also my uncle, I was at my uncle's house and we were last night watching TV and then a commercial came on for picture frames. And then I was driving down the store or driving to work and then I noticed that there was a picture frame shop on the way there that I'd never noticed before. And then I did the Gematria picture frame. And then picture frame also equaled everything I was talking about earlier. It's like, why do you even put this in your video? Like, so I would call him No Discernment Dan. So, if you guys think the Illuminati was founded and, there's 132 rooms in the White House with the 132s because of Tyra Banks, chalk yourself up for the insane asylum. So, okay. Yeah, Dan is a real dumbass. And what's amazing is you have Derek in there now cheering it on too. And like, yeah, this is the real decode. It's like, oh yeah. Okay, this is the good stuff here. Deion Sanders brings the baby to speak to the team. Okay. But hold on, I did need to read this article. Oh, so this is going on in another country. This is going on in the banker country. Swiss writer who called journalist fat lesbian sentenced to 60 days in prison. LGBTQ groups applaud decision. Hey, let's make sure that's what the ruling was based on. A court in Switzerland sentenced a writer and commentator to 60 days in jail for calling a journalist a fat lesbian. Oh, so it is about language. And the decision is being lauded by the LGBTQ plus groups. On Monday, French-Swiss polemicist, I don't know that word, Elaine Bonnet, who goes by Elaine Sorrell, was sentenced by the Lausanne Court for the crimes of defamation, discrimination, and incitement to hatred after he criticized Catherine, a journalist for Swiss newspapers Tribune, in a Facebook video 2 years ago. Okay. Well, it's not the U.S. It is Switzerland, and before long it'll probably be the U.S. at the rate we're going, where feelings matter more than anything else. But what else is weird is another weirdo online who's like literally done probably about 100 hours of streaming just saying the same like 3 stupid phrases over and over while talking about me. I mean, a true mental break. Oh, God, I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say about that person. But, yeah, it slipped right out of my mind. It doesn't matter. I'm amazed that this guy just keeps streaming hours on hours in his car. Just with nothing. Oh, I know what I was going to say. He keeps, and then he goes, all of this is facts over feelings. And it's like, I mean, it's funny how like dishonest people are at themselves. Like, okay, we know the real reason that you're in your car streaming over and over is because your feelings got hurt because you met a girl in the community who dumped you, and then you blame it on me. And I don't know what was said between you two. But yeah, your feelings are hurt, so now your facts are your delusions and opinions, and you're just an emotional little guy. And it's sad though. People are sad, man. A lot of people lie to themselves. And it's amazing. It's just like all the people that slander me online and say I'm the liar, but then they don't call in. Call in and tell me where I'm lying. What am I lying about? I'm here putting out accurate information each day. I'm steering people the right way. I'm helping people see the forest for the trees. I'm helping people make healthy decisions, smart decisions, financially wise decisions. I feel like we're just a beacon of good information over here, helping people out for years, helping people be prepared for what's actually coming and not falling into the pit traps of conspiracy nonsense, which is the only thing that goes viral. You don't need to go out and buy a Faraday bag to put your cell phone in today. If that's you, you're tripping. And But yeah, we would all be better off if we got rid of our phones. So I will say that. We'd be better off if we got rid of our phones just because that is part of the agenda. They want everybody staring at their phone all the time, distracted by their phone, getting the latest headlines from the liars. I mean, society's so tuned into all the lies because of the phone. 24/7, 365, nonstop propaganda buzzing in our pocket, ringing in our pocket. The latest ding for the latest lie. Then you end up signing up for things that you actually want the information from and you can't get any notifications or it doesn't exist anymore. It got taken down. Got taken down because Google says that the information doesn't, it's not in line with the World Health Organization out of Switzerland. MLB playoff game sees lowest postseason attendance in over 100 years. Yeah, people don't have the attention span for baseball anymore, and part of the thing is there's just less and less kids that the sport of baseball. Unless you played baseball, it's hard to appreciate watching baseball. It's a complicated game. It's seemingly boring. It's something you have to appreciate from having played it. Somebody watching a pitcher pitch, they don't understand how difficult it is to throw with that kind of command and accuracy and what it takes to put the spin on the ball. Again, pro sports are a joke in themselves, but the guys who are in the league still do have the athleticism. And but yeah, in a way it's kind of sad because baseball, in terms of the major U.S. sports, is probably the most interesting sport. But at the same time, it takes an appreciation to play. And I just, I drive by the baseball fields. And when I was a kid growing up, people were out there playing games on the baseball field. Now the baseball field's overgrown and nobody's out there. And again, when it comes to sport, I think it is good to play them as a child. It teaches teamwork and skills. And, it's a lot better than sitting in front of the couch. And now mom doesn't want Johnny out at the park playing baseball because she got an Amber Alert on her phone. I mean, that's the real problem with the phone. All the fear and paranoia coming through it. It's so annoying when I'm out here, I'm like a 3-hour drive from Seattle, and then they shut down the TV and you got an Amber Alert for what just happened in Seattle. It's like, oh, I'm sure everybody's going to go outside and look to see if the silver sedan without license plates cruising by our neighborhood right now. The real reason they're doing this is just because it spreads more fear and paranoia. Every mom who sees that's like, oh yeah, that's why I keep Johnny inside. Yeah, I know he's getting real fat over there, but man, he's safe playing Grand Theft Auto. Call of Duty's killing all the terrorists over there, getting fatter by the day. So how's it an unexpected emergency alert today? I thought, I guess for all the people not following the news. But yeah, I thought they'd broadcast that pretty well, that there's going to be the 10-4 emergency alert. Okie dokie. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Maybe I'll be back between now and TFR. Depends on what happens in the news. But, yeah, again, try not to let the 10-4 message received, do too much for you. So. All right. Till next time, Truth Seeker.